Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hi,
Hi.
this is Hema.
Yeah, hi, Hima. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, welcome. I think we'll just start at 4:05. We just want all those who are waiting to get joined.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I can see a lot of people has already joined. I think Chandravesh Chaudhary is there, Bhagyashri,
Uh,
Ayaz from the community. Hey, Ayaz, how are you?
yeah.
Aman, Abhishek Kedia, and Abhinav. So I think we'll just wait a bit more and then we'll start. Let's be on the first page, Sangeet. It's a bit awkward slide. We have not even started it.
Yeah.
Yep. Meanwhile, I would like to request, I think around 15 members have joined, 16 members around. So if somebody has any questions that they want to ask that we'll be doing at the end of the session, you can just put it on the chat and we will address it.
काढली ना हा काय का तशी लेच नाही
Hey, hi, Suraj. I think the chat is disabled now, so we can't just put the questions there.
Okay, I'll just enable it. Sorry. Oh, you're not able to put a message on chat, Abhinav?
Yeah, it is showing chat disabled.
Okay. Sangeet, can you look into it? I can't see. Maybe it's from the host side. Sangeet, can you see something to enable chats to all the people?
I think I have enabled the chat. I think.
Okay, thank you. Avino, can you check it right now?
Yeah, it's there now.
Okay, great, great.
Thanks.
Still, I'll just put a link. If they're not able to make the chat, they can message directly. It will go on the our business the data community chat room of WhatsApp. Sangeet, I think screen sharing has been.
Yeah. I'm sharing.
Okay, got it, got it. So I think Sangeet, we can start, right?
Kash, we can start. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So hey, hi everyone. Thank you all for joining in with us. And it's our fourth session that we are doing right now. We have invited Suraj Haiza as our guest speaker for this event. Previously, we have done events on telecommunication sector and human resource management sectors, that how data science is affecting those field areas. So in this podcast, we will be trying to understand the role of data science, how data science is dealing or helping to grow with the fintech industry. So in fintech industry, I think data is always there, data is always present, but there are more capability is getting enabled with the help of data science, and the innovations and the tools that is being developed in the field of data science. So we'll try to understand that what kind of achievements till now has been done with the help of data science, and what is expected into the future time. So this is the basic idea that we are going to move ahead with it. So I would like to just move on to the introduction part of our guest. Uh, yeah, Sangeet. So yeah, this one. So I would like to give a brief idea about our guest speaker, who is Suraj Haiza. He is initially, I think, co-founder for the Google Network from Jan 2016 till September 2017. And then he have worked as a business technology analyst for JDS from May 2018 till September 2019. After that, he have worked with the data analyst growth strategy with ground truth. So from at that data analyst growth strategy position, he's from September 2019 till Feb 2021, and currently he's with Mastercard as a data scientist. So welcome, Suraj. Hi.
Hi, Akash.
Yep. Hi. So we'll just go on with the brief idea about your journey. Okay, from as a co-founder, then business technology analyst, and further you are growing as an individual and as an uh, professional. So can you just briefly explain us about your journey till now? And
Yes,
yep,
yeah, I think that would be great. So,
right.
hi everyone. Thanks a lot for inviting me for this event. Um, I would start with from the beginning when I was in college. I I won't take long, but I would say that I have done plenty of experiments. Some of them failed. Some of them, helped me in succeeding for the next big role. And the few are just now present on your screen. So when I was in college, I thought of making some websites, making some digital marketing content, helping some people with their work, taking their help, working in conjunction. So that kind of work I did when I was in college. So this period between 2016 and 17 is my college period, where I was developing website. I was mostly involved in guest blogging. People used to come to our blog, our website, and used to post the blogs, and we used to do promotion for them. But eventually we thought of, that's not a very lucrative business because the server cost and all is so high, was so high at that time. So we were not able to manage that. So I thought of, working with more starting working with companies would make more sense at that time. And at that time I joined Accenture, which most of you won't know because it's not mentioned in the slide. But Accenture was the stepping stone of my journey, where I was working as a software development analyst. But eventually I found that, that is not a piece of cake for me, because software development is what doesn't excite me at all. At that time I switched to ZS, and in ZS my actual data analyst journey started. In ZS,
Okay.
I was making some data engineering pipelines for our clients, where I was mostly involved in fetching the data from the source, doing some manipulation, sanitization, and then sending it to the visualization team, who used to make sense out of that raw data and present it to the business team. So at that time, my role was mostly backend, where I was making pipelines. But since starting, when I was in college, I used to do Python and all. I thought of moving to a bigger role where I am developing the solution for the clients. I'm not only involved in fetching the data, but developing a solution for them. At that time, I thought of joining another company, which is small, which could give me that opportunity where I can work from end to end, starting from getting the requirements, building the architecture, then starting working on it, then giving that solution to the client, presenting it. So from where I can get end to end exposure. At that time, I joined
Okay.
Ground Truth. Ground Truth gave me that opportunity because when you are in a big company, you're a part of a process. But when you're in a small company,
Right.
you can work on multiple processes. So
Right. Right.
at that point, I got the opportunity to do everything. And along with it, I was doing one course which helped me in understanding the fundamentals of deep learning, and how this data science is working exactly. So I used to work in data science, but I used to have knowledge of some of the very popular things that were there. So for example, there is one algorithm called random forest, which was very popular at that time because the Kaggle community was promoting it. So I used to
Right,
work
right.
only on that. But to get the holistic overview of what data science is, from where it began, I joined this course, and I just now completed it. It's a post-graduation diploma in data science. So at that point, I got to know, what all algorithms are present, which could be, which one would be the best one to apply at which situation. So that kind of knowledge I gained in that course. And so
Mm.
at that time, I was working with ground truth. So that was, working parallelly on two things. But then when that course ended, I was prepared for the next role, that I should probably move forward and explore my options. At that time, Mastercard came, and I gave the interview, and I got selected for the data scientist role. um, yeah. So here I am currently working with the integrated analytics team, where we work in conjunction with different stakeholders, understand their requirement, build solution which is more feasible for them to use, make data pipelines as well. And before presenting it to them, we do our own research. If there's a prediction required, we forecast using Python directly, no tool used, and we present it over Tableau. So this is my current role in Mastercard, to develop solutions for multiple stakeholders.
Great, great. I think so. I think we'll got a great perspective, and one biggest thing that coming out here is that the role of you as a professional in the ground truth. As you have said that being a part of a startup, you have learned a lot as a data science professional, right? You have
Right.
learned or created a great strength in your data science skills.
Mhm.
One more thing I just wanna ask with you that during your journey with Googly Network as a co-founder,
Uh-huh.
okay, I'll got to know that it's in almost top 20K websites in India, right?
Yeah.
Right. So can you tell us a bit of idea that how you have started and tell how you think that it's growing? And as you have said that the cost there is attached to that development, right? Which will lead to move ahead with it.
Okay.
So a bit of
So
idea, please. Yeah.
yes, since we were in the business of digital marketing, so people used to reach out to increase their outreach. Now, to increase their outreach, our outreach should be enough, to help them achieve whatever goals they have in their mind. So
Right, right,
what we did was, in the initial months, we thought of marketing our content, we thought of marketing our website. So at that time,
right.
we took help of SEO, and
Okay.
we had various interns who used to write blogs, where we used to put keywords intentionally so that our website could rank good in Google. So earlier, when since the website is not live right now, but earlier, when you used to search for some of the content, you must have got one of our links as well. So let's say you are searching for a recipe, and it's a very
Okay.
popular recipe, and you just write on Google that how to make this. So probably to get our website web page ranked on the first
Yep.
page, we had to do some initial work. So at that time, to get that work done, we exhausted most of our funds, and then we only relied on the funds that were coming from the clients, which was not healthy because we did not have that much experience. uh,
Okay.
and then since we were working so much on ourselves, uh, the cost was 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 obviously high. And at
Right.
that time, our website, when we checked, it was in top 20,000 websites that were coming. So it's obviously
Okay.
not a very good you know the
But
the rank of a
considerable,
website.
yeah, as a startup, it's a considerable achievement, I think.
Yeah, in one
Yeah,
in
right.
almost 6 to 7 months, we were able to get that rank. So that was probably one of our achievements. But since we couldn't scale up, That was probably our mistake, but then probably we'll run from we learn from a mistake in future
Right,
if it
right, and go
happens.
ahead with it.
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, that will be a great insight, I think, for those who want to try a cost attached with it. Apart from it, there is some effort that you have to made with interns if you can't have somebody. Plus, you have to create a great database at least to go ahead with the SEO as well, right? So this is the basic profile idea that we have gone with Suraj. Now we'll just move ahead with the questions that we have prepared for you, okay, to understand your
Uh-huh.
mindset or your understanding of data science and how we just try to get an idea idea about the fintech industry. So I'll just put you on the first question, okay. What
Mhm.
let you start your journey with fintech for Mastercard? And as you recently joined, so what are the interview experience that you have with?
Okay, so my journey with fintech started around when I was looking for a job after ZS. So at that time, I was searching for a new job which could help me in exploring myself in you know in more exploring myself in more detail. Like, give me a second. Yeah. So yeah, so when I was searching for a job after Ground Truth, I was looking for a role which could help me in developing myself in more processes. Earlier, I was only involved in making data pipelines, but I was looking more so that people could come and discuss their problem with me, and they can get a whole idea of how the solution should be, could be like. So at that time, I interviewed with Amex, and at, at that time, I felt that there was something lacking in me. The interview was very rough, and he asked me some questions which I couldn't understand. And at that point, I took it as a challenge that whenever next time I'm interviewing for such company, I
Right.
should be prepared enough to answer these questions. So I at that time can
Yeah, yeah. I'll just guys, please mute yourself. We'll just I think start the public question and session, then we can go ahead. Yeah, Suraj, you can start. Sorry.
Yeah. So at that time, I felt the need of exploring myself, learning more. And at that time, I started learning about this fintech industry, how it works,
Okay.
what all challenges it faces, what all project it needs to be done at their end. How can they make solutions for their customers? How can they help their customers? How can they help consumers at least? So at that time, I started exploring. I started working on the projects, what projects they work on, and you know I did not work because my company was not giving me that kind of project. So what I thought was, let's start something in the process parallelly, and let's see how it goes. At that time, I did a few projects which were related to fintech, which involves credit risk evaluation, debt collection and revenue prediction. Yeah, and fraud detection and prevention, portfolio management, how machine learning can help me in solving these problems. And these are really big problems, though it looks easy, but it's really a good case study. So after that, when
Right.
the thing is, when you start working on problem, you get to know more about the industry. So at that time, I started gaining good you know background of how fintech works. And after I completed my course, after I completed my tenure with Ground Truth, I got this opportunity with Mastercard, and similar questions were asked in that interview, which I've gone
Okay.
through last year. So at that time,
Previously. Right.
at that time I was prepared for every question that was coming on my way, and the result
Right.
is you all know.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So, as you have said that the firm with which you are is not allowing you with that kind of opportunity for data science, but still you have looked other side, okay,
Mhm.
and made yourself concrete enough on those skills. So what are the platforms you have utilized? Can you give
I
an idea to our audience?
Yes, so I initially started building my coding skill, and for that I used HackerRank. HackerRank is a very good platform to learn SQL, Python. I don't know why people directly jump to LeetCode,
Right.
because LeetCode is a more advanced version of HackerRank, where you learn to
Okay.
optimize the your query or whatever code you write. But I would suggest start with
Okay.
HackerRank, and that would be enough for you in your data science journey, because ultimately you're not making algorithms. You are just being a practitioner, and you are just applying whatever um,
All
the
right. Right.
libraries are already made. You don't need to go and research, because you're
Mm,
not a PhD at that. You're not doing PhD. So start with HackerRank,
all right.
learn
Right.
SQL. There are enough SQL resources. People directly jump to Python and then ML, but you should understand what the data journey is. So if you start, looking into data journey, it start with
All right.
fetching the data from the system. Then comes the phase where you manipulate the data, or clean everything can be done on Python. And then to present your data, you need one visualization tool. You can pick any Power BI tab, you look up. There are many free tools as well in the market. So that is how I think ideal journey should look like. Otherwise, you have your ways. You know yourself better. How would you learn better? So
All
you can
right.
pick any.
Right. So yeah, I think that's a great, because it's really need for someone who is not in that field to understand the platforms that allow them to know or get themselves involved with that skills.
Uh-huh.
Right. So great. We'll just move ahead with the next question. So what exactly your current role? Okay, in the current form, that is Mastercard. What exactly you'll be in?
So as I told you, I directly work with stakeholders, understand their requirement,
Okay.
whatever they need to build. I just note it down in the first meeting. I
Okay.
understand it. I do not. I put some. I ask some relevant questions which could help me in uh, building the
Data
solution
collection
for
or
them.
data gathering. Right.
Yes, I initially start with asking how are you getting the data,
Hmm.
what all operations you generally perform on the data, what you'd like to, what kind of rules do you want to apply on your data. So these kind of question you come up after you understand their requirement. So first day is just understanding the requirement. The next day you come up with some questions, ask them, and then start working on the solution. Build First phase is just to design the solution. Then
Right.
comes implementing a solution. So when you design it, you need to make sure that you get a go ahead from the stakeholder. So you try to help him understand, what all solutions that you are trying to build. And then the stakeholder will tell you, probably if you are a tech guy, you know better, probably you can add this. They'll give you some feedback. And after you get the feedback, you start the designing phase. When the designing phase is over, you start working on building the code, which is exactly needed in getting that implemented. So when the code is built, we start testing. We did do the unit testing. We give access of our dashboards to different stakeholder. We take their feedback, but then we work on their feedback. So this is how a usual project journey in Mastercard is, at least for me.
Great. Okay. So can you give us an idea that what is the average tenure for a project that you'll be doing with Mastercard? Like how much long it is? Okay.
It's been three and a half months with Mastercard, and I am currently involved in two projects. One is about to
Okay.
end, and the second one is what in the middle phase. So
So
with my experience and observation point, I would say it would take 3 months, but it depends on the number of people that you have in your team, what all
all
expertise
right.
is needed for that. Let's say if there is an NLP problem that is required, and the solution is and the data is very unstructured. So you would
Right.
need some time to clean that data, get it into your tables. So that kind of adds a days to your project. So it depends on the
Right.
complexity, depends on the number of people that you have in your team.
So on an average, we can expect that minimum 3 months a data science project can take, because there is a lot of data gathering plus validation, and then what we can say,
Feature
to
engineering.
understand whether the data, yeah, or feature engineering, and then whether the data has leakage or not,
Right.
right? So all those kind of things. So it's almost 3.5 months project. Okay, on an average, we can expect,
Right.
right? So let's go ahead with the next question that we have. Yeah, and that is very important. What advice you wanna give for fresher who want to enter into the fintech industry, and how you want them to be ready in the data science reference?
Okay.
Right.
That's a very good question. I am
Right.
getting some disturbance uh, from back end. Can you?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I'll
would be good.
just
Yeah. So there are a few factors that fuels the fintech industry. So if you are a fresher and you are in the college, and if you just want to, start exploring your options in this industry, then probably go prepared. Now, how can you prepare when you're not in that industry? So it's very easy. Just go on Google and search what fintech is. Most of people think that MasterCard is a finance company, but actually it's a technology company. It's just a broker between two banks. So uh, when a bank initiates uh, or when a customer initiates a transaction, the bank needs to validate that transaction, and to validate, then MasterCard comes into play. So uh,
yeah.
MasterCard is a facilitator of that payment. So it's a technology company. So if you're going to MasterCard and if you're telling them, I just wanted to work on in a finance company, and that is why I'm choosing MasterCard, you'll probably get rejected on the day one, because
Right.
uh, if you talk about finance, the companies are like HDFC Bank, India Bulls. These kind of company are finance company who gives you loans, give you interest. So these companies are actually the finance company. But when it comes to technology company who enables these financial organizations to manage, to go and work, for their operations, then comes the MasterCard, a company like MasterCard, Visa, RuPay, Amex. So then these companies come into play. So do your research about the company is the first thing that you should do, or about the industry, because if you are if you know the jargons, if you know the terminologies, you have won the half battle. uh, the second thing is work on the projects. Before even going to the company, you need to know if you are interested in those projects or not. So for example, there are some projects that I would take the name, I would show it to you. I have that on my GitHub profile as well. Plus I can tell it to you as well, which all projects are there. So just go and do some of those projects, so that you get an idea of what kind of role you'll be facing and what kind of challenges you'll be having when you go into that industry. So projects like credit risk
Right.
evaluation, uh, customer journey attribution, fraud detection, if you think that that won't be an advanced one, so you can start with these
All right.
projects and then approach these companies.
So yeah, I think we'll definitely add your GitHub account with it, okay, with our description, so that people can get to know a basic idea about it and understand the kind of problems that can be available in the fintech industries. So that will be great. And as you have said, MasterCard mostly is an enabler of services from bank to the people using their platform, right?
Right.
So that's a great part, right? So understanding it as a fintech is or a financial industry is not a great thing, but it will be dealing with the financial sector and providing solutions for that financial sectors as a mediator, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead with the next question that we have. There are majorly 4 card enabling forms, namely MasterCard, Visa, Amex, RuPay. Can you put a light that how they support banking industry? I think you have already explained, right? A
Yeah, I
bit,
can
but
explain in more detail, which would help
please,
you
please, yeah,
understand their business.
sure, sure, please.
So, Akash, which bank account do you have your salary account in?
So currently I have the BOB.
Okay,
Previously
BOB.
it was Dena, then it's get converted into BOB after merging, right?
Okay. So,
Yep.
so let's consider a situation where you go to a merchant and initiate a transaction. So you take your debit card or a credit card with you. You
Right.
go for, you go for a shopping and you then swipe your card. So I'll tell you what process happens. You think that, when you swipe the card, the card company just gives the money to the merchant, but generally this is not the case. What happens in backend is whenever you swipe the card, your bank, which is the issuing bank, that is Bank of Baroda,
Yep.
is the issuing bank, and what it does, it sends a message to the merchant's bank. Let's say it's ICICI Bank, or that merchant. Whenever, let's say, whenever the transaction happens, uh, whenever you swipe the card, the merchant bank would initiate a message to your bank, and it would ask, validate some things for you, and it would and your bank would give approval, that this is a valid transaction. This account holder is in a bank, and this much amount is there in his bank, so you can deduct it. So this kind of approval uh, is then given, and at that point the transaction happens. So let's say if you transact for 10,000 rupees, and if you don't have that much amount uh, in your bank account, again this process happens, and at that point your merchant gets to know, that amount is not available in his bank account. So whenever you do this thing, there is a series of messages that revolve. So that
Right.
series of message r- is enabled by Mastercard. Okay. And
Okay.
similar is the case with RuPay, Visa, or Amex. These are, uh, keeping Amex aside, these companies, Mastercard, Visa, and RuPay, are those companies which generally work on transaction processing, and they do not have any business of lending or borrowing. Okay. so you
Okay.
so these three companies are technology companies. They have nothing to do with finance.
Okay.
We generally don't know how much account balance you have in your account.
Okay.
So we do not
So
have those kind of information.
great. So I think I can get a perspective that to use the technology provided by Mastercard, RuPay, or Visa,
Mhm.
and with that technology, uh, enabling facilities with that financial firms. Okay. And it's only while using the card, there is a communication with the bank,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have to take anything with the Mastercard and RuPay and Visa. And if that communication is successful, you'll get your withdrawal. If the communication is unsuccessful, means there is some problem, right? So to enable that facility with just the kind of technology provided by these companies.
Yes, the approval,
Right.
the transaction processing
Right.
is actually done by these companies.
Right. So mostly it's a transaction processing. Great. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just move ahead to the next. Somen is raising hand. Meanwhile, you want to ask something, Somen? You can if you want. Okay. So okay, just we'll take him offline or at the end. So my next question to you, Suraj, is how Mastercard is different from other competitors. If you put a basic light about it.
Yeah. So by other competitor, would you like to name any so that I can take good reference?
Sure. So I think there are two mostly. One is, as I've said, Visa, and the other one is RuPay, which is mostly in India. So it's a comparison with Visa will be more effective.
Okay. So how Mastercard is different from Visa is on innovation, I would say. Mastercard
Okay.
is Mastercard was started in early 60s, where it was initiated by a few banks, and at that time, normal initiation, the transaction processing used to take place, uh, but now the game is different. Transaction processing can be done by anyone. So to stay in the
Right.
business, Mastercard has to innovate, and these companies are also innovating. So to get an edge over these competitors, so Mastercard is innovating. Now, to innovate, you need to use current technologies. So if I tell you, give you an example where MasterCard is innovating is blockchain. So
Right.
MasterCard is currently using blockchain to enable their supply chain partners with automated payments. So let's say you need to reconcile some of the processes and payments. Using
Right.
blockchain, you can do that easily, because there is no central dependency on anything, and the processes are and the transaction would be safe there as well. Plus, MasterCard is constantly working in conjunction with companies like Razorpay to enable these small scale industries, MSMEs, for the payments, which generally Visa is not doing. So I would say, in innovation, MasterCard is ahead. One more example that I forgot to give: digital cards that were initiated by MasterCard. So if you know, worldwide there are 1.3 billion people who do not have any exposure to digital payments.
Right. Right.
So MasterCard is working in partnership with these telcos, telecom companies, to give card to their subscribers, and the card would be in the form of digital number. So whatever
Okay.
transaction you generally do with your card can happen with those digital numbers. So these kind of payments
Okay.
facilitation is being provided on MasterCard. And currently there are
Sure. So
2.5
that
billion cards in
physical.
circulation for
Right.
MasterCard.
Sure. So that's a physical card is being replaced by virtual card digital, right?
Right, exactly.
And apart from this, the technology part that will be differentiating the Mastercard and Visa,
Yeah, I would
and
say the
I think
innovation part.
right, innovation part, right, right, and the blockchain that will be going to be introduced, or it's in working phase,
It's in working phase.
or it's in innovation. What do
It's
you
in
say?
working phase.
Okay,
Currently,
okay,
Mastercard is also working with some cryptocurrencies, but it's still
okay.
in the test phase. So in innovation, I think Mastercard is having the edge.
Okay, okay. So I'll got a perspective that MasterCard have their problems, their understanding, and based on that, innovation is going on at a different level that might be or might not be present with the Visa. Right.
Yeah, probably they'd be working on it,
Yeah.
but currently Mastercard has rolled out these changes.
Sure, sure. So we'll just go ahead with the next question. We've got a bit idea about it. How data science is being utilized in this fintech industry, and what are common ML problems that is mostly useful?
Yes. So
Yeah.
starting with their core business, what fintech is all about: payments and transactions, right? So analysis
Right,
and
right.
prediction of transaction volume. So for example, how much amount did you spend on the groceries last month? And based on those things, these kind of information that they gather, they roll out loyalty rewards. um, DS, data science, facilitates the holistic analysis of
Right,
customer behavior. Okay, so you can do
right.
some customer segmentation, and based on that you can run some marketing on them, relevant marketing on them, and that is how data science helps for payment and transactions. The next comes when you're giving credit. So let's say,
Yeah.
uh, Akash, you generally default on giving your
Right.
payments. Okay,
In
and
a case, yeah.
me being a person who regularly pays his EMIs on time. So so these companies have data for lakhs of customer like us. On the basis of that, they have some attributes. Let's say, Akash, you are a male, you are a 20-year-old guy, and you are probably a student, and
Yeah.
your earning is in this bracket. So and based on this info, you are not giving your EMIs on time. Me being a 25-year guy working with Mastercard, having this is his payment, oh, this is his salary, is giving payment on time. So based on this assumption, or I would say based on this the
Data
model,
availability.
yes, the model starts working. It gets the knowledge whether who'd be paying or not. So it makes some decision trees. So let's say if it's a male, if it's a guy who has the salary bracket of this, he would actually pay. So that on basis of that, the credit risk evaluation is done. and then the credit is given to to that person. If a new person comes and if let's say he falls in the bracket where he won't be paying that amount on time, then he's denied credit at that time. So this is how this ML is saving a lot of time and a lot of money as well. One more thing that I would actually would like to bring,
Please, yeah.
there's a fraud detection and prevention
Yep.
which happens in fintech. So let's say Mastercard is working with one of their banking partners, and they see that persons is having a card in India, and but the transaction is initiated from China. Okay,
Okay.
at that time there is a real time reconciliation that happens, and transaction is denied at that time because the card owner is in India, but
Okay.
but the transaction is happening in China. Or probably you would get a call,
Yep.
are you using this card for this transaction? So at first your transaction would be denied, but then if you call the customer care, they would enable it, because it could be a possibility that you have given your card to one of your family
Relatives or
members. Yeah,
yeah,
so
or
that
just
could
move
also
ahead
be a
for
problem.
2 or 3 days,
So
something like
there,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so there are some flags that are created based on some previous knowledge that is being floated from years. So, and then comes the
Mm.
portfolio management, very important thing that people do. So to predict the
Right.
movement of stocks, uh, they learn what kind of movement would happen in future, and basis on that they take some decisions, and they are actually in use. So these tools help you in taking good decisions, but in the end conscious and experience and assumption is totally yours. So human intervention is also required. So these kind of uh, you know these kind of projects are already available and are already working, where data science had helped fintech to grow.
So great. You'll get an idea about the different segments and different kinds of capabilities where data science is helping. Right. Can you just name one or two algorithms which will be very helpful till now?
One would be XGBoost. I
Yeah.
generally
Right.
use Python, so there is a library where I use XGBoost to predict. XGBoost is the one, and I would say stick with the basic one. So logistic regression is what you would
Okay.
be having. There would be enough problems in logistic regressions. Try to solve it in them. Don't bring deep learning, LSTMs, and all when building models.
This
uh,
basics. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
start with basic ones. If you're getting good results, fine. If you're not getting good results, then move on to the next model. Otherwise,
Right.
there's no need to bring complex model in your code.
Right. Try to simplify and make model more understandable. That will be
Yes.
more accurate. Right. Right. So yeah, I think that is a great part. Let's move ahead with the next question. Uh, Security is a big issue while making any transactions, which are I think a core part. Plus user satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how you think Mastercard or other competitors satisfy this need? So I think one thing that you have already explained is the kind of transaction that is happening from the different part of the world while the person is in the same country.
Yeah, this is one of the use cases that
Right.
I've discussed. There are many
Yeah.
like these. I would name one that you must have faced. For
Please. Yeah.
example, you do some transaction on a website, and website deducts the charge, but it doesn't give you a service, that
Okay.
service. So at that
Okay.
time you raise a chargeback.
Yeah.
Okay, so chargeback is something that you say, you write your reasons there in that form. You did not get the service, or probably you did not do that transaction. So at that time, banks takes that request, and it actually calls companies like Mastercard to validate that payment. Okay,
Okay.
now the power is in Mastercard or Visa's hand to validate that payment. So once the validation is done, the response sent to the bank, and then bank gives you the appropriate response. But again, if you say, I'm not happy with the response, you can again do the chargeback.
Cashback.
At that
Okay.
time, Mastercard or Visa has the power of saying who would bear the expenses, because customer would anyway get the money, right? If the
Right.
customer has appropriate proof and
Okay,
everything
yeah.
is right on customer's part, then somebody has to bear the loss, right? If the fraud has
Right,
happened,
right.
something has happened, somebody has to bear the expense. And somebody has has the power to say, if the merchant bank should bear the expense, whether in the website on which you have done the transaction, that website's bank should bear the charges, or the issuer from or the customer's bank should bear the charges. So at
Okay.
that time, this decision is taken, and the money is returned to the customer. So this
Okay.
is the security, I would say, how customers are um, taken, like, this is how these companies come into picture and helps the
Okay.
customer in getting their money back if there is a fraud that has
Right.
happened.
Right. So I just want to elaborate to all the people that, as per my understanding, that I have seen an accident. Okay. So one of my friend have booked a villa in Goa. Okay. And when they have reached out there, okay, and they find out that the villa is being taken by somebody else, and they are trying to adjust them to somewhere else. Okay. So if the payment has been done with the UPI, okay, then there is a different kind of process which we don't know. But if the payment has been done with the MasterCard and other credit card or debit card processes, and you are not satisfied by the services that is being provided, so you can claim at that position chargeback, because you have paid for some services, and that services is not too relevant as per the payment you have made. And this is, I think, an excellent example to raise for the chargeback, right? I think, Suraj.
Yeah, most of the
Right.
people don't know this, because they have never seen these company working,
Right.
like how these companies are helping their consumers. So probably this is a
Right.
good way of educating the customers.
Right, right. And putting customer at first. Okay,
Yes.
right. So I think, yeah, that's a great insight and great understanding, I think. And now let's move ahead with the next question. I think we have. Now, UPI is a booming industry. We all know there's a lot of transaction that is going on with the Google Pay and Phone Pay.
Mm-hmm.
Apart, I think recently Google Pay have announced that from US to Singapore or US to India, transaction is possible through their platform.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how you think this has impacted debit card or credit card industry? And yeah, how
Okay.
debit card will remain unreplaceable from the local market, or just
Okay.
a bit brief
So
idea, right?
right, UPI is enabled by NPCI. It's a regulating authority of for this UPI, and it uses IMPS as backend, right?
Okay,
So currently UPI in March 2021, currently UPI has reported 270 crore transactions and around 5 lakh crore volume in those transactions. So obviously UPI is booming in India, and it's a direct competitor of debit card. So if I tell you who all would be impacted in India, would be people who are only holding debit card. But when it comes
right,
to credit card,
yeah,
there is no UPI is not in that space. And if
right,
you see why, um, if you see developed country like US, we were
yeah,
discussing that another this thing that day, that
right, right,
in countries like US, an average person holds 9 credit cards, and if you
right,
take average of 100 people, there are 300 credit cards for those 100 people. But in India, there are only 3 credit cards for 100 people.
right.
So credit
That's
card
a
is a
gap.
booming industry. And if you know uh, more about it, so you must know that the economy runs on credit. Okay.
Right,
if a if a typical American is owning 9 credit card, he owes somewhat about 2,000 to the companies. Okay. And if you see how many customers are owing that much amount, and how much interest that if someone defaults, how much interest they need to pay, the revenue would be huge for those companies. Okay.
right,
So So that is what happens. An average of 200 million credit card transactions there in US, in countries like these. So credit card industry, I don't think there would be that much impact, but debit card is definitely getting impacted with UPI coming as a good player. Um,
Okay.
but when it comes to international payments, obviously UPI, Google Pay is enabling UPI in to do that. Let's
Okay.
say there is a
So there are certain places where it's not possible.
yes.
UPI enabling
Let's
is
say
not possible.
if something
You mean to
happens
say?
if you do some transaction
Okay.
on international website, and in nowadays when there is a globalization, you order from different countries, okay, and you get
Yeah.
that item in your country. Uh, if something happens, where would you go? Companies like Mastercard or Visa would only come into play, where you can raise chargeback, you can do, you have power in your hands. But UPI, once you get stuck, uh, probably if things are not under Indian government, then they probably they won't be able to help you much. But
Right.
I know there would be some things into place to get this thing sorted. But this is what I have, that what consumer how much consumer is facilitated with credit cards. Probably nobody would be able to match. And probably I know 30 participants, 35 participants was there
Right.
in this.
Right.
Probably everyone would be using credit card for rewards and cashbacks that they get. So
Right.
that's one more area where credit card beats UPI.
Cashbacks and rewards available, which will enable in this segment that is not till now available with the UPI. You mean to say, right?
There are some initial UPI transactions you can get cashback, but generally you get recurring cashback when you use credit cards.
Right. Right. Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we often get on Google Pay a better luck next time. Yeah. Right.
But these are provided from credit card from companies like Google and all. But
Right.
Mastercard and all provides cashback or these rewards.
Okay. So yeah, a bit of idea. Now I'll just put you a bit more more what we can say core-related question.
Uh-huh.
What do you think, as per your understanding till now, that data science domain capabilities will be in 5 or 10 years ahead in the fintech industry? So, what are the differences you see in the upcoming time?
I'd say that probably company would start investing more in machine learning, because uh, things that were not possible 10 years back is are now possible. Probably in
Right.
next 10 year we'll be choosing things which can be automated, and at that
Okay.
time you know even even bringing your phone near to the POS machine could do the transaction. So doing when new things come, new challenges come. and
Right.
uh, and obviously the fraud rate also keeps on happening. Okay, if you say, let's just go back to that question where UPI fraud was there, you know
Okay.
that generally doesn't happen for credit card. you know
All right.
UP, UPI, if you understand, phone pay has enabled this option where if you are sending amount to unknown person using the QR code,
Okay.
then you'll be prompted that this is sending to you are sending, it's mentioned you're sending that amount to that person. So every time the technology goes to next level, the frauds also go to next level. And
All
then
right. Complex.
the company needs to focus more on real time frauds that are happening. So at that time data science would come into picture in detecting those frauds. And
All right.
if you save your customer from fraud, you'll get that customer for life. So
All right.
probably you
The
that
trust
is thing.
building goes up. Right.
Yes, and probably this portfolio management and asset management companies have now started using these automated software for their customers as well. So it removes some dependencies from the analyst. But again, some manual intervention is required, but it solves most of their problems. And
Right.
whatever used to consume a lot of time is can now be done in 5 to 10 minutes.
Great. So yeah. Let's move ahead with the next question, I think, that I have. And that's the final question. When after that, we'll be taking the user responses. And I think there are 7 to 8 responses that user wanna get responded. So just let's put it in my way. What are the tools and packages you suggest someone must aware with to break into the fintech industry, like the basic data science tools that they should know or they should understand some basic skills?
See, I'll start with the non-negotiable ones, uh,
Yeah, please.
which are very important. I am again hearing some disturbance. Um,
Okay, hold on.
okay, yeah. So there's one non-negotiable technology that you all should focus on, which is SQL.
Okay.
Learn on any platform, MySQL, PostgreSQL, any platform would be fine because SQL is mostly same in all of them. SQL is a non-negotiable one. Try to write efficient queries because once you're fetching data from database, it requires cost. So let's say if you are writing query on Athena, which is a platform given by Amazon, and if you are searching something from Amazon database, there's a scanning cost, and for every 1 TB, there is a $5 to $6 cost
All right.
scanning cost that is required. So you need to build efficient query to fetch data in one go. And
Okay.
SQL is a very easy language, but it require for its use case is very difficult. Like whatever you use, whatever you'll write would be difficult enough uh, for you, so that you know it would be difficult enough. So you need practice. This is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Right.
So start with SQL, then pick one of the programming languages, R or Python, anything is fine. If a person, I have seen most of the people on LinkedIn fighting over R or Python, but I think both are fine. Even if you know Java, there are projects in Java on data science. So language is not a problem because if you
Yeah.
go to
Right.
any company, everything would be same for that language, but the implementation could be a little bit different. Third is one visualization tool that you need to focus on. It could be Tableau, Power BI, or Excel is a very good
Okay.
tool as well. So if you know how to make dashboards on Excel, that would be a perfect skill, I would
All
say.
right.
But Tableau is mostly used by big enterprises because of cost and license.
Yeah.
So just focus on building your profile on these three technologies. For SQL, second one programming language like Python or R, and then one visualization tool. That would be enough to start your journey.
All right. So basic idea about starting to means if you have a project, you can start it from scratch using SQL. Use
Uh-huh.
programming base to make it some output or means what you can say quality out of that data, and show it using a proper platform, a visualization platform. That will be
Yes.
great, right? So yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
So that's the basic thing that mostly needed, or it's a mandatory, as I say. Okay. So I think this is all from our side. Okay, that we just want to understand. Now we'll just go on with the questions that user have, but we'll try to address some of them. Avinav have asked one thing: how reliable is a ML model in finance, where mainly qualitative model is
Supervised learning, then
yeah.
it's more reliable. If you use
Okay.
unsupervised learning, it's not at all reliable. So
All right.
most of the problem that I've solved till date are supervised learning. And supervised learning algorithms, you all know, logistic regression, linear regression, random forest, XGBoost, these all come under supervised learning. What doesn't come under supervised learning is our algorithms like clustering, time series. So these are the non-reliable ones. But
Okay.
if you need to do qualitative modeling, then I would say a human intervention and human experience is also required in judging whether you have got the right output or not. So human dependency would stay in these kind of decision making, but ML makes your work easy. This is what I would like to say. So your ML, so this would be an Iron Man philosophy where machine and human works in conjunction to give rise to a more to give rise to a superhero. So
Okay. So
so
great. And yeah. Got the idea, got the basic idea. Okay, Suraj, we'll just move ahead with the next question. I think Chandravesh have put it here. Where do you think research is needed in financial data science areas? What are the career prospects for PhD in finance and machine learning? Which companies hire most researchers?
Okay, I'll just tell you what data I had.
Okay,
Mastercard hires PhD
graduates. Okay,
graduates from IISc, Indian Institute of Science, and all in the
okay,
research field. So whatever we do as a data scientist, we are practitioners. Whatever algorithms that are made, uh, we just apply that. We do not make algorithms. Okay,
Right, right.
but these researchers, when they are in their PhD phase, they develop one or two algorithms, and they help us in building those packages. So these PhD get some analysts who would be doing some coding for them, and whatever you know uh, input they get from the PhDs, they try to incorporate in code and make some package out of it. So uh, I hope I answered the question. Your question starts from
Yeah, so it's the basic idea. I think we have
research
covered
is
it.
needed in
Okay,
financial data science.
all
Yeah,
right.
uh, research is obviously needed in security thing, because when you deal with finance, security comes into picture, and correctness of numbers. The QC should happen at a faster rate. So manual QC is uh, is where I think it requires most of the time. So it's
The
that place.
quality analysis of data, right?
Yeah, quality checks, quality thing. Yeah, so and plus if you know about this industry, so the government regulations keeps on changing. So at that point you need to make sure that you are you're having all compliance checks in place. So that is where we need to, whenever the regulation changes, we need to change all the rules. So there, that is where the research is also required. Everything
Right,
gets sorted
right.
easily.
So to target the more complicated problem that arises because of some regulation changes, that's where PhD will be a part of it, as per right?
Yes, research would be yeah. So if it is not done by PhD, that would also be good.
Right. So I think, yeah, he is happy with the answer. You have just given thank you.
Cool.
Okay, so we'll just take a small time, okay, to the different questions that they have asked. One, Gaurav has raised that, can you please recommend any course for deep learning?
I I won't take any name,
Yep.
but I would say no course is good enough for you to understand deep learning. Just go on Kaggle, pick one of the projects and start working on it. So I worked on deep learning, but I forgot most part of it. I'm trying to be
Okay.
honest. Okay, you can't remember all the codes, so anyway you have to
Right,
copy
right.
and paste from the internet. So just go on Kaggle, work on some of the competitions that have take that that were there in the past, and try to build a solution. Solution are also available, but if you do some research, Google, you'll get the code as well, but you won't get the exact code when it comes to competition. So start learning from basic. Otherwise, if you need something, everything is available in TensorFlow website, on TensorFlow's
Documentation, you
website.
mean to say,
Yeah,
right,
everything
right.
is there. Not just
Right.
documentation, the Jupyter notebooks are there, and the uh, the output is also shown there. So from scratch you'll get everything, so you don't need a course for just for deep learning.
All right. Great.
Yes.
So yeah, next question from Santanu. From where should I apply for data science job, as I am 2020 pass out and I have done 2-3 major project in deep learning?
So
So
deep learning is see, I'll just be frank, there are only
yeah.
5% jobs with deep learning, who would need a person who knows deep learning. Just try to work on analysis part, because 80% of the job is with is in analysis. So SQL, Python, if you know that, then probably you'll get thousands of jobs in the market. uh,
Right,
y-
right.
okay, start with that. But if you think that you can get directly into deep learning, that would be hard. You can do that, obviously, but that
Right,
would be
right.
a very ha- you know
Tough
I don't
part to
think that
go
you
on
should
with it,
start.
or
Yeah.
right, and not explainable as well. So I think
Deep learning is not at all explainable.
right, right,
This is
that
the
is
thing.
the
Yeah.
biggest concern.
Yeah, only the math part of it is explainable, but if someone asks you, how it did this, so you can't go and backtrace it, or probably, or you can tell the concept of back propagation and
Right,
maths around it, matrix,
or
but
you
when it
can,
comes to, yeah, you cannot
sure,
validate if that
sure,
algorithm is working fine on your data or not. But it's just a functional thing where you put in the input, you just send the input and you get the output. If it's coming good, then it's fine. Otherwise, you'll waste your
right,
time in changing the layers. So
right, right.
and you don't even know which layer would work best for your model. So that is a thing.
Great. So I think the next two questions are similar enough to deep learning, which Kumbala Anil have raised. So I'll just skip this one. Okay. I
No,
think
no,
they
I'll,
got
I'll
the
just
idea.
answer. Deep learning is not important for data science.
Okay.
This is as per my experience,
Okay.
is not compulsory.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. So
Yeah.
would you suggest some courses for deep learning and machine learning? I think similar that we have just
Similar. Yeah.
faced, right? So next, Ayaz Muhammad Abdul have a question. What all should I be learning to be a data science? I have enrolled for a course wherein I have learned Python, and now they are teaching me machine learning, then few concept of data science. What extra concepts should I be learning apart from the SQL or Tableau? So I think,
I think that is
please.
enough. Just focus more on the course and try to pick up projects after your course ends. I think these things are enough that is being taught. And I think
Right.
most of the courses that are long-term courses, which are around 8 to 9 months, are good courses. But
Okay.
3 to 4 month courses are just telling you bits and pieces about data science. But I think 8 to 9 month courses are actually giving you full implementation in their projects. So I don't need to worry if it's a good course. If you have done your
Okay.
research, it would be a good course.
Great. So yeah, I think I'll got an idea. Now, Somain have raised a question. Working in state-owned bank, doing conventional banking, how I can upgrade my skills and be a corporate ready, as I don't have any related data analysis experience. So I think he's working with some bank, right?
Yeah, brother, I just need to tell you that if you're working with the bank and if you don't get time, just go for any of the paid courses, which are around 1 year.
Yep.
They would tell you everything because you'll be paying for the structural content that they'll provide. You will not be so people say that if I can do that without a without enrolling for the course, but you need to invest something in yourself. So don't worry about these investments. These are small things. If you want to change your domain, these courses would help you in getting the structured knowledge. And plus, since you'll be paying for them, you will definitely go and study, because I know I have done this. When I was doing my own study, I was not giving that much time to studies. I was mostly involved in other activities. So go for any course, start from basics, they'll teach you everything. So don't uh, if you need to learn on your own, go to Udemy. There is an A to Z course in Python. You can enroll in that. But if you think that you're disciplined enough, so just go for self learning. Otherwise, go and join some of the courses that are
Sure.
available in the
So
market.
yeah, that will be great help, I think, for him. But he have left. Okay. But I think you can hear our podcast. Okay, when it's released, that will be available. Next, we'll ask with Shivam. Okay, who is raising question. What is role of payment gateways?
Role of payment gateway in e-commerce. So if you can see these Shopify websites coming into picture now, all have payment gateways starting from PayPal,
Right.
Razorpay, Google
Right.
Pay, Paytm. These all are integrations. So it just helps you in enabling your transactions. If the company is new, they won't give you cash on delivery options, and probably it will get
Right.
people in this scenario. People would obviously avoid these kind of payment gateways, because you know current scenario is not good. So payment gateway
Right.
is
Right.
really important. If it's not there, then probably your customer will go. It's a very important
Great.
thing.
So I think next question I'd like to take with Vikas. Okay. And what are the challenges that you face while dealing with data, fintech related data, and how to get fintech domain knowledge as we don't have any finance background?
I
So,
didn't have any finance. I also don't have any finance background, but
so
uh, so the thing is,
great.
challenges that I faced was were about the nulls that so these are basic challenges. So once you get the
Right,
data,
right.
you analyze it. There will be some unstructured data. You need to convert it into structured one. Plus, you need to take care of the nulls. If there is no, so probably when you start working on this financial data, you would get some, you won't get access to some of the data, so you probably need to
Okay.
work around and get that kind of a data. So let's say you are getting data for x, but you're not getting data for y, but there's a relation between x and y, so
Yeah.
you need to backtrack and get that y. So that kind of thing we do. Plus, we take care of the outliers. Outlier is very important when we are dealing with our
Right,
financial
right.
data, and this helps us in detecting fraud as well as in the process only. So only EDA can help, like just
Yeah,
EDA can help
exploratory
you
data
in,
analysis, right?
yes, just EDA can help you in detecting fraud. So you don't need to be a, you don't need a hi-fi tool to get that.
Okay.
So
So the
how do you
basic
get,
logic.
yeah, how do you get fintech domain knowledge? I don't think you need to study accounts and all to get that fintech knowledge. But there's a website called Investopedia, where you can go and just write in what all doubts you have, or just start studying from the start. Uh,
Yeah.
that would be helpful. Investopedia is the one which I refer to. Plus, if you have interest in financial, in the capital markets, and if you trade in stocks, then you'll probably have all the knowledge that you need in fintech.
Right. So I think that is a great part. And as a data scientist, we really don't need to, as per my view, need to know these things, but to interact with someone who is a domain expert and working in this field, whether it's data science or healthcare, to interact with them and understand the domain understanding and the kind of requirement you have. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
sir. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, I'll just move ahead with the next question. These are last two questions. Monies have raised. How do you feel market is going, given that we have pipeline automation, etc. Company don't want dependency on other form for technology. How data scientist and automation goes hand in hand. Do you have any example for your journey?
Can you come again the first part of the question?
Yeah. How do you feel market is going? Okay, given that we have pipeline automations, so almost he's trying to get an idea that uh, means data science and automation is going hand in hand. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and the company is not depending on the other forms and technologies,
Okay.
so the
So
skills.
I'll just give you a brief about this. So companies do work in conjunction. So if you want to work with the best, if you want the best thing to happen with your company, you need to work with the best. Okay. So if you think, let's say, if you're building a website and you need to integrate some payment gateways, and you are working with some payment gateway from China, then, and you don't even know the credibility of this that, so
Okay,
at that time you'll be your customers won't feel that that payment gateway would be safe. They'll just be stealing the data. But when you
okay,
go with companies like Razorpay and all, the trust comes with it. Okay, so
okay,
you
yeah,
need to
right.
work with the best. And market, I really did not understand the first part of it, like how market and pipeline automation thing. But what all I could get is pipeline automation does help in saving the time of the person who is working on it. They can,
Right.
they earlier they used to do it manually. It used to take time, 3 to 4 days in operation, but now due to automation it would just take 15 minutes. So it just saves time, but people keep on getting good projects. So for less workers, you like for less professional, you'll be able to do more work. So that
Right.
is the thing.
So yeah, actually what happens is that when we'll solve a problem, okay, any problem, that the solution create another problem that we have to address, right? And it's an ongoing process to deal with them, and it's not because the data will be giving us different insight at different time. So we need to address those challenges, find out continuously, and move ahead with the next possible solutions.
Mhm.
So I think there is another last question that somebody will just be taking it by Avinav. Any course book recommendation regarding gaining the domain knowledge? As you mentioned, there are some legalities comes into scenario. How to keep updated ourselves? So it's,
Okay, course book on data science or finance?
so I think he's talking about the domain and which
I
is
think
completely different.
Investopedia is a good website. You can go and check.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a very good website. But if you know, if you want a data science book, I would suggest there's one book which was launched recently by Abhishek Thakur. It's
Okay.
approaching almost any problem in machine learning. So you can refer to that because it has codes and all written in it. So probably that would help you in understanding this domain and integrating this domain with data science. So probably you can refer to
So
that.
great. I think with this we'll try to summarize the whole session because we'll get to know a lot of questions raised by user and we have addressed it as well. Okay. Apart from, we have also tackled some of the more core problems, okay, in the data science field. Now, I would like to give a brief idea that we are doing till now. Okay, we are a part of the data talk community. Okay, we are building it for the data science people. Okay, so what we mostly doing is that to address three kinds of problem that user generally face. Okay, one is that those people who are freshers and wanna get into data science. So what we'll do is that we are creating an environment for such people, okay, and help them with the industry leader knowledge to let them understand basics or even help them land into some internship or basic job level, data science level jobs. Second, we are also looking for those people who are working with what we can say, working in certain sectors, certain different sectors, but want to dip into data science field. So they want to make a transition in data science field. And we are also helping those kind of people with our the data community to provide them a platform where different same aspirants will be discussing and having weekly or bi-weekly meetings to understand what are the problems they have solved and how to move ahead with it. Now, the third and the main focus that we have is to create a data science community because it's a growing field, right? So whatever the problem you will be facing right now must complete, it is completely different in the upcoming 2 years. Okay, based and the tools that will be introduced to us will also be a bit updated or different. So to make all the people who are a part of data science updated with the latest ongoing things on data science and help them understand the core updates that has been happening apart from the news updates and all those kind of things, so that our members and our teams is updated with those kind of informations. So this is what we have initiated the Datadog communities, and in the same way, we are interacting with different experts in different field to understand their view on the current scenario and how things is going on. So that's the brief idea about what we are doing right now. And I would like to just ping the link to join in our community, okay, on the chat. So if you want to join in, then you can join here, okay, by using the link. And I think there are something that we are continuously doing in this field, okay. And our main aim is to address the kind of problems that will be possible in data science and create a legacy for the upcoming time as well. So this is the brief idea that we have done till now. And thank you, Suraj. Thank you for joining with us and helping with the insights that you have shared. I think that will be really helpful. And those who have missed will just release the podcast to get into it and understand these kind of things. So thanks. I think this is what we really looking for, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, Akash. Thanks all.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you and goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, Sagar. Thanks very much.
Yeah.